their cosmic consciousness and understand how God created them and how it is opening doors in specific endeavors and how it can bring them to death, that would be an incredible achievement for humanity. But you know, I am what, only 50 years ahead of time?
Let me say, correct me if I'm wrong, Gabrielle Gifford probably had no idea that, astrologically speaking, that she was disposed this way, right?
No, absolutely not.
No idea.
And worse than that. Jared, if you look at the chart of Jared,
yeah, he was born.
He was born in September. Now, if you go into the third house, which is the mental process, the critical thinking of this guy.
September 10th, 1988.
Okay. September, October, November. He thinks and he talks like a Scorpio, which is a sign of death. Worse, he has Mars, the planet who is gone, the planet who rules danger, machinery, explosion. He's got Mars in the third house in the mind. He happens to be the death wish generation. Those kids strive for death, and nobody was there to teach him, because once upon the time, Jared was an innocent, beautiful, loving child, like every one of us.
In fact, we have a sequence of images. Let's bring them up, Jared, starting first, second, third, as we see the progression here. You can see he was a wholesome, nice-looking young kid, and he's a little older, and all of a sudden, here's his first image right here.
Yeah, he's a normal
Nothing
kid.
wrong with him.
No.
It looks fine.
But you see, the problem is this type of children need mental, spiritual regeneration.
Yeah.
They need to get involved into the spirits. Okay, and this is why most of the crime that took place are taking place right there at school or the university. It's a desperate cry for the soul to tell their teachers, their parents, to tell the schoolmaster and the educational system, look, something is missing.
And here he is. Here you can see that he's...
he started to change.
Yeah.
He started to change. He is simply a victim of a lack of information. He never had an opportunity to regenerate his spirit. It is tremendously artistic. He's got the head of the dragon in Pisces.
What's place?
So, which is the sign who regulates the art. So he was artistic. He was doing movies. He was very artistic. And then, you are a Virgo.
I know.
My top students were born in September. Every one of them, because the mental process of those born in September are Plutonic. They regenerate in investigation, in metaphysics. And at the end, there goes the product. At the end, this is a child who never had an opportunity to understand who he is, where he comes from, and he chooses to set up the college, the university, and kill everybody as a subconscious cry.
Like a ship without a rudder.
Exactly. Exactly. And traditionally educated psychologists and psychiatrists cannot enter the intuitional domain of my work and remotely understand what the archetypal realm of consciousness is about. So they see the stars like an astronomer, as a rock, deprived of spiritual life, which is so wrong. There is life in every one of these stars. So what about the work of the ancients, the Greek philosopher? What, let's trash all that? Give me a break. There is so much for humanity, and all this has been trashed, cast aside, ridicule, just because it's against God. Give me a break.
Yeah. We have an image of the 6 deceased. Out of respect for them, could we bring that image up? Here they are right here. This is the ones that lost their lives. A beautiful little girl.
Let's do. Christina was born with the tail of the dragon, for God's sake, in the sign of Capricorn. Naturally, Christina wanted to get into the Capricorn element, which means politics, classical music, the snob, the power itself. Is the last thing to do to bring a child who has the tail of the dragon in Capricorn close to anything that dwell with the government, who dwell with politics. But the school, who are the one who put her there, had no cosmic consciousness. The teachers, don't get me wrong, I'm not blaming them, but without any cosmic consciousness, this is what happened. Okay, Christina was born in September. She has the house of death in the sign of Aries, which means violent death. Aries was gone, okay? You can see the tail of the dragon is in the home area, okay? And in the sign of Capricorn. So it is completely against the law for anyone who has cosmic consciousness to lead a child towards the tail of the dragon, because you like it or not, you know it or not, if you mess up the laws written in light by God himself, you are going to pay the penalty. And in that case, again, Christina is a victim of ignorance like Jared.
Yeah. You know, one other point, I'm not a numerologist, but she was born on 9/11, and she died on 1/8/11. 8 and 1 is 9, 9/11 again.
She was born under a very negative set of stars. The day she was born, this is where an infamy was done in this country, in New York. Okay, do you think it's an accident for Christina to die in such a dramatic way? It is not. But, you know, if you don't have the eyes to see, the mind to comprehend it, you're going to use imagination, you're going to use science, and you still will never get closure, because this is not the truth. Everything happened for very specific reasons. And when you have the keys of what it means to be human, and you have science, which is not endorsing or honoring the words research and science with me, it drives me insane, because I can't help everybody. If I could just be trusted. I am not a Mrs. Cleo. I'm using a software, the same type of software that NASA has used. But I don't see the stars as mere rock hanging there for the sake of beauty. I perceive it's my God gift, and it's my curse at the same time. I can see a little bit more than other people. And all I'm doing 24/7 is wanted to give that to the world. So
I know, and I know Louis really does work around the clock on this stuff. You do, very dedicated. Yeah,
exactly.
What do you think out of this whole tragedy? Do you see anything good coming out of it?
Well, I wish there was a little bit more show with people like you and I to explain exactly what happened. But all the people, would it be the victims or would it be the perpetrator? You know, I think it is all wasted sacrifice if no one is giving me a chance to explain and then to understand what I'm trying to say here. Because, you know, when I say, for example, something will happen on that day, and it happened on that day, and when I write it a year before in my book, you want to give me a credit here. And I'm not doing it just because an ego trip. I'm doing it for my very pure, true concern for the people of Tucson and for the victims, for the family that can finally understand, why did Jared kill everybody? Jared is a victim of ignorance.
And apparently the local community college in town here booted him out because they saw he had a problem. But it was not legally required for them to report him to the authorities. But had they done that,
Jim, for
it may have
God's
been a
sake,
different story.
Jim, the signs were obvious.
Yeah.
Don't give me.
No, I'm just looking at it from
what I'm trying to say.
An earthly logistical
I understand,
plan.
but what about the sign I'm trying to convey now? If everybody in this college, his teachers, his friend, everybody missed the sign, what about the supremely spiritual, hidden, inner sign that I'm trying to pass on to the world? And that's why I'm having a problem for people not understanding me.
Put that image back up, please. This is an image, an example of the way the mood is in the world today. There's a lot of, instead of having intelligent, now this has nothing to do with Jared or any of this, but there's a mood of hatred going around in society. Instead of having a solution to a problem and an intellectual discussion, they assassinate each other's character, and it's both parties, both ways.
Yes.
They're innuendos, name-calling, and if you take, what I'm worried about, now look at the sign here. There were 2 of these in Tucson. They removed, those are full-size billboards.
Oh my gosh.
But instead of having an intelligent discussion in our politics and really getting down to nitty-gritty and solving problems, they're just assassinating each other's character, innuendos, name-calling, and if there's another Jared out there who's on the edge, all he needs is just a little bit of an excuse to send him off.
This is why, even in Coast to Coast, many times, George.
And I'm not saying this Jared's thing was politically motivated at all.
No.
So don't read that into this, folks. But there are
whatever-
nuts out there that are on the edge.
Exactly.
It doesn't take too much to push them over.
And this is why I have said to all this litter in conspiracy and all this dirt going on in politics, understand that if you feed evil, it's like throwing a brick above. What's going to happen? It's going to be right back on your head and gut. It's really stupid if you don't wear a helmet. But
That's brick karma.
So
Brick karma back.
you know, there is exactly. There is two forces at work. You've got positive, negative, up and down, black and white, the front, the back, God, devil. If you keep pushing into a negativity, okay, as the future is the reincarnation of the thought, it's just a matter of time for this negative energy to transpire and to manifest into another drama. So people have started to think to be decent, to stop. It's anti-productive. It's very negative. And you don't go and feed evil because the reality is without the devil, there is no God. Without the front, there is no back. Without a male, there is no female.
That's true.
So those two forces have been at work since forever.
Yin and yang.
And humanity has to begin to understand that we create our future, we dispose ourselves with our thought, and this is what's going to be coming as we approach in the year 2012, by the way. This is where this gold opening, this golden door will be finally available to humanity to raise itself and closer to God, to His creation, and to start to work in our money with the stars. We are so behind in this field, and that's why I'm working so hard trying to make people aware that all that I'm teaching is so very real.
Yeah. On a different note, as we approach December 21st, 2012, our solar system will be passing through the center line or the ecliptic plane of our galaxy.
Correct.
And there's all kinds of thoughts and ideas running around about this. Some people